Creating content is one of my biggest passions, right alongside acting and music. I put a lot of time and effort into making high-quality videos and podcast episodes for you all. If you'd like to support my work, you can send anything via Cash App at $Douglas Folk Jr. Your support helps me continue making my videos the best they can be. Every bit of support keeps the creative fire burning. It truly makes a difference.
I wanna hear your thoughts. I wanna hear your sound. And mama always told me to shout and speak my mind out loud. Come on and talk when you got the time. Freedom, once you on the line, we wanna hear from you.
You got it going.
Let your voice shine. Platform yours is not just mine. We wanna hear from you.
You got it going.
Talk to me. Talk to me. Talk to me. Talk to me.
You're gonna shine.
Talk to me. Talk to me. Talk to me. Talk to me.
You're gonna shine.
The song you just heard was Talk to Me, the Freedom Savage podcast theme song. You can listen to the full version of this song wherever you listen to music. Don't forget to check out 741 Quarantine Studio Remix featuring Quay and Douglas's new mixtape, Freedom Savage, the Mixtape. The links to all songs will be under this video in the description below.
Hey y'all, what's up? We are in our first segment, Freedom of Speech. I got two familiar faces with me.
Hey y'all, I'm Tati. IG, I am Tati, 4eyes_, pronouns she, her. Yeah, that's it.
My name's Deborah. My pronouns are she, her. And y'all can find me on everything at ya_girl_Debs. You feel me? Yeah, very much.
First of all, Deborah, it's been a minute since you've been able to join my podcast again. So I am so happy that you are back. So I'm going to be referring to my notes. Y'all already know how I do, or to be stuttering up a storm, losing track of shit. I can't wait for the day that I hit the mainstream. What people really don't know is, like, we get on this podcast, we kiki, we cut up, we do the things, but it's a lot of work that go into this podcast. And outside of this podcast, we are grinding, okay? We're all just sitting back and chilling and really just trying to make a way nowadays. When I like to hang out with friends, we always end up in the city somehow. If we ever end up passing through Times Square, because the restaurants and stuff, the real good shit be like downtown Manhattan.
It gotta look a little dirty, you know. It gotta look a little on the street.
You can tell people been in there because the food good, you know?
Yeah.
If we're ever in Times Square, we don't really pay attention to, I would say not too much attention to the statues. I believe the statue was taken down, but there was a lot of talk online about this specific statue over the last couple of months, and it had Black women in particular on TikTok going crazy. Today, we're going to talk about the statue of a Black woman in Times Square that was displayed and why it sparked so much conversation. According to ArtNet and the New York Times, there was a 12-foot bronze statue called Grounded in the Stars that was installed in Times Square back in April, and it was up until mid-June. It was created by Thomas J. Price, a British sculptor, and it showed an everyday Black woman standing with her hands on her hips, looking confident and unbothered. The statue wasn't based on a specific historical figure, but on Black women Price observed in everyday life, and it was meant to challenge who we see as worthy of being honored in public spaces. Price said he wanted to disrupt the typical idea of who gets a statue, especially in a place like Times Square, where there are statues of white men everywhere. The pose was a subtle nod to Michelangelo. Why the fuck?
Michelangelo.
That word ate you up.
That's just been happening for episodes straight now. Michelangelo's David, but reimagined with a Black woman standing strong in her natural form. The whole point was to spark conversations about race, representation, and gender in public art. And it definitely did spark conversation. Some people, including a lot of Black women on TikTok, felt like the statue wasn't it. They felt like it was unflattering, that it played into stereotypes, or that it didn't represent the beauty and softness they wanted to see in public depictions of Black women. Some felt it was giving a struggle aesthetic and didn't capture the range of what Black womanhood looks like, especially compared to the hyper-curated images we see online.
Bad representation for Black women.
Like, they really think we're a joke. Big behind, 12-foot, overweight Black woman in the middle of Times Square.
It's actually horrible.
There's nothing attractive about the statue. There's nothing appeasing. It's like this monster. It gives this aggressive, overpowering, masculine Black woman.
So many successful Black women out here. Why did you have to put LaQuisha? That representation is LaQuisha. The box phrase, I love you on the head. This attitude, they're making a mockery of it. You're making a fool. Hurry up and take this down.
Then there were Black women who pushed back and said, no, this is exactly what representation should look like. They pointed out that this is how everyday Black women look, and that it's important to see a Black woman in her natural body taking up space confidently in such a big public place like Times Square. They felt like rejecting the statue sometimes came from internalized beauty standards we've all been taught to uphold, and that there's value in seeing ourselves outside of the narrow hourglass figures and filtered images that dominate social media.
Talking about her, she looked like your mother.
You're showing how much you actually hate the normal, everyday Black woman. That I have to be over the top and get my body done and get my face fixed.
And we're not mad. When you walk by her, you just gotta respect her.
I have met more LaQuishas that have been girls, who have protected me and who have had my back than the Black women who speak like this, that want to be something other than what they look like and what they are and within the community. But also, just like the agents of white supremacy, y'all love the culture when it benefits you and when it feeds you, and then you hate the culture when it comes to showing love publicly.
That's a normal body. But y'all so used to the BBL, the insecurities, needing to look like everybody else, that you're down in the statue, which in turn is down in real life people. What did y'all want? A 30-inch bust? Y'all wanted Beyonce. Y'all are also the type that will scream body positivity. Oh, when a girl looks like that, says, oh my gosh, I'm just so big and I'm so ugly and I'm undesirable, blah, blah. Y'all are the same ones to look at them and be like, no, you're so beautiful. Whole time, this is how you feel about them. There are Black women on this app that look just like that.
You look like the statue.
She looks like me.
She look like me.
You look like me.
This debate, it opened up conversations about body image, colorism, respectability, and who gets to decide what representation should look like for Black women, especially in public art. It made people think about why seeing a Black woman in her natural form confidently standing in Times Square feels radical to some people and threatening to others. At the end of the day, grounded in the stars wasn't just a statue. It was a mirror that made us confront what we're comfortable seeing, what we're used to seeing, and what we want to see when it comes to Black women taking up space. It speaks to the way society tries to police Black women's bodies, even in art. It's a reminder that sometimes the most revolutionary thing we can do is take up space exactly as we are. I'm not a Black woman, and I thought it would be more insightful to have this conversation with Black women leading the way. So I got a series of questions that I'm going to ask Deborah and Tati about the debate that went on online around this statue. As Black women, what were your initial thoughts regarding the statue?
Well, I definitely think that it's a positive thing. Like, it's definitely made to be a positive thing. I can understand if certain people were feeling like it wasn't representation of them because that's not how they look. But I feel like focusing on that misses the whole point of it. Idea of an artist making it to show Black women taking up space, being confident in who they are, and that's a very positive thing. But the fact that there was backlash, the fact that there was controversy towards it, is really confusing for me because it's a statue. Like the artist said, there are statues upon statues upon statues of white men who have done things for this country, but they have done a lot of horrible things that they still get praised for. The whole purpose of that statue was to praise Black women and give Black women that life. Why try and nitpick that? Why try and break that apart? I feel like that's where the whole concept of the statue just really lost me, is the fact that there was controversy towards something that was supposed to be positive.
Well, you know how that's the energy Black women always get. When I first saw it, I liked it, and then I was like kind of thrown back. Not thrown back in a bad way. It's just like I never would have thought we would have a statue like that. It's just like, if nothing represents Black women, is that. And I feel like people had the most backlash because she wasn't skinny. She had braids, her posture. We all want this change in how Black woman is accepted. All of those things. But then when that journey starts, it's a problem because it's not how you want it to look. And then it's also this biased thing of where everyone, even our own people, feel like Black woman is so ghetto, ratchet, all of this, all of that. They feel like that's what that statue represents. But when you look at Black women and you don't put Black woman and ratchet in the same category, you don't put Black woman in ghetto, you don't put Black woman in loud, one doesn't define the other. But I also kind of understand the uproar because it's like how, her posture, how she's standing is like, I don't want to say it's bad, but it's just like stereotypical.
Well, how do y'all think beauty politics, colorism, and social media standards shaped how folks in our community reacted to the statue? Do y'all feel like some of the discomfort people had came from internalized ideas about which Black bodies are okay to show in the public?
Hell yeah.
Most definitely.
Yes. Because I've seen women doing TikToks who look exactly like the statue upset. And that's what baffled me. One woman, I don't know her name, I don't care to even say it, but she looked just like the statue, saying that this doesn't look like us.
And baby, it's you.
It's
The calls are
you.
coming from inside
Like,
the house.
even if that's not your body type or your body shape, it's your mom, it's your aunt, it's your godmother, your
Right.
cousin. Like, you know, a black woman. Everybody knows a black woman who looks like that.
Right. And for you to not accept someone who looks like that, like, look at yourself. Do you not realize the issue that you have going on with yourself? Regardless of what body type was chosen, like, people weren't going to be happy regardless, whether she looked different or not. People were always going to complain. This is why we don't have nothing, because people always want to say something about little things that aren't important. I just feel like, what's the point in rejecting it? I really don't understand the point of rejecting art that is supposed to represent black women. It's not like it looks botched. It's not depicting black women in a negative way at all. People are literally picking apart a positive piece of artwork. Is this what you do to yourself? Is this what you do to other black women? Do you hold other black women to a certain standard they don't have to live up to? That's just the standard that you're holding them to. You're creating this stigma, being so critical of people that are just like you. They just look different. Like, there's no point of being that critical. You're supposed to love yourself and love people for, whatever they look like. It doesn't really matter whether I'm built like you or you built like me, or I'm lighter, you're darker. Like, that doesn't matter. People shouldn't get put down or feel like they shouldn't be given the limelight because of that.
And I like the statue because it goes against everything. It goes against people who hates black women or don't like black women. It goes against people who are colorist. It goes against people who are fat phobic because she's not skinny. It goes against all of those things. So that's why everyone is so upset, because it goes against the norm.
Right.
It's not supposed to be accepted. It's not supposed to be normal. It's just, that's really why I feel like all the hate comes from, even from the people who look exactly like that statue, which got me that baffled me the most, because I know plenty of black women who look like that. This represents my people.
Right.
And black women. How can you be upset at that? Anybody who's upset at that, especially if you are a black woman, is just internalized hatred. I don't know. It just doesn't make sense to not even like the statue.
Why do you think there's pressure to only show black women looking soft, luxurious?
Society made the definition of black women to be that, to be unflattering, unkept. That's what society think of when they hear the word black woman or when they see black women. That's why I feel like.
Yeah, and I feel like there's such a need for people to feel like they have to prove themselves and stuff like that. Like, and it shouldn't be like that. It shouldn't be that I have to present myself a certain way for you to have this idea of me. You're not expecting that of anybody else but me. It's out.
Whether we wear braids, whether we wear wigs, whether you wear extensions, whatever the case, it's like nothing we do is just acceptable.
Nothing is good enough.
Yeah, nothing is good enough. Like, if she was made any other way, it wouldn't be realistic.
That is very telling of how today's time is right now, because people play all day that they're very accepting and that, like, we create a very accepting environment as people. But that's really just not. There's so much internal hatred. Like, so much, and it spreads throughout the community like a virus, and it's sad. We can't even have anything nice that represents us in big spaces, because you tear it down. You're literally tearing down an inanimate object. This is a statue. Imagine what you do to real people.
Exactly.
There were people that felt invalidated once they saw so much pushback come against the statue. There was many people, one comment in particular, I'm going to put the picture out. A user had said, as a woman, that could easily have been the living inspo for that statue. I've always had a suspicion of how the world saw me, but now I know for sure that I'm hated, overlooked, and discarded, even by people of my own community. Because I'm going to piggyback off of what y'all are saying. Again, I am not a black woman. When I first saw the statue, I really didn't think much about it. It didn't feel offensive or problematic to me at all. I was just like, okay, cool. It looked like a lot of black women I see every day, whether that's family, whether that's friends, or just people out and about. I wanted to come into the conversation trying to understand both sides, because I get it when something is made that doesn't show you the way you want to be seen. But I'm also about keeping things like real and showing people what's like authentic. I will say that social media kind of plays a role here because it's shaped how we think an attractive Black woman should look. Usually it's the curvy hourglass shape with the big boobs, hips, butt, and not every woman has that shape or figure. That's not the reality. I hope we're starting to realize that it's not the only way to be beautiful. Like, that's not the only way to look to be beautiful or seen as beautiful. There are changes happening now in modeling and music videos where there are more plus size models and all kinds of body types getting more space. And I love to see it personally. I want art to show diversity with people of all shapes. Oh, shapes. I want art to show diversity with people of all shapes, sizes, and identities. The statue made me think about when I used to play dress up games or games like The Sims, which Deborah is the queen of Sims, okay?
Oh my God, I haven't dusted off and played it in so long. Too
Oh,
much like real life. Like I really sit here and I'm heartbroken. Like my character just got hit by a car and their kids got kidnapped. What are we doing? Going on? I just opened the game. Just opened the game.
like whether it's on like The Sims or any game where like the character animated, I would say like more in like a 2D form. I don't try to make the avatar look exactly like me, especially when I was bigger and heavy. No, I tweak
She
it.
gonna be the baddest bitch on the floor.
You know what I mean? I would tweak it a little, especially when I was heavier. Like
Yeah.
if the only choices were really skinny or big and fat, if there was like no middle ground,
I'm gonna pick body T. Like
I'm gonna pick body T. I'm probably gonna pick skinny because there just wasn't much in between.
But exactly. Okay, am I gonna be something that I don't see myself as? Or am I just gonna pick the thing that is socially acceptable? And I might only want to be that because it's socially acceptable. Because I feel like now that I'm older, I'd rather just be healthy. I don't want to be skinny because I look like a bobblehead. I thought your head shrinks when you lose weight. It doesn't.
It
My head
doesn't.
is too big. Yeah, my head is too big to be little. So I like being a thicker girl. I just want to be healthy, and that's it.
Clock it.
This actually ties back into the season 2 premiere when you and I discussed insecurities. And we were talking about like body image and stuff. And that was actually the biggest tip you gave. You were like, when you go into the gym and stuff, you should be going to be healthy and happy.
Healthy,
Not
yes.
to lose
It was
any-
a point in time where I lost a lot of weight. I became like really, 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 really insecure after I had my daughter. That's when I gained the most weight. I want to say I gained like 30, 40 pounds that pregnancy. And when I had her, not much went down. I got so bigger to the point where I was not even used to being that big. Like I wasn't even used to that body that I had. So 2020, because I had her 2019, I was so like in my mind where I'm just like, I have to lose weight. So I lost like 30 pounds, but it was so unhealthy. I lost it very quickly because I was basically starving myself. And I started gaining at one point. I think I gained like 5 pounds. So then I was like, oh my God, I'm about to go back to what I was. And then I did the same thing again, started starving myself. Only that time I end up in the hospital. And then all for what? Because I have this thing in my head where like, oh, I got to snap back. That's another thing with moms. And they're like, oh, you kind of criticize for not snapping back after pregnancy, or, your body's not the same no more, or, your body is, your stomach not flat no more. So whatever. So it's just like, I got so in my head about it that I lost a lot of weight, but I did it so unhealthy that I was unhealthy. I was in the hospital. They wound up discharging me just because I didn't have COVID. Like I said, it was 2020. So they didn't see I had COVID. They just sent my ass home. But I knew it was because of what I was doing. Like it just was, I knew it was unhealthy. It was like over a week I was bedbound. I couldn't stand up without falling down, dizzy. So it's just like in my own head. This time around, I gained every pound back, but because I lost it mad unhealthy. So I obviously gained it all back eventually. Now I'm back to where I was, and this time around, I kind of want to lose it healthy. And I don't want to, and at that time I had a goal weight. I was like, oh, I want to get down to like 140. And that's it. But now I'm not really focused on the scale because I did get down to 140, but I was passing the fuck out. I don't have no goal weight. I have a goal look. I have a goal. Like I want to make sure
How
I
you
look.
feel.
Yeah.
That I want to be able to get up and not grunt like I'm 50. I don't want to feel old. I feel like that's my main thing.
If you're more than your weight and you really start to feel it, you'll start to feel heavy,
Yes.
Yeah, and it just makes you feel less active. You're just more tired all the time. Me moving out here, I gained a lot of weight because I'm not doing as much. and you don't walk nowhere out here. So me being a little passenger princess for a while, yeah, my knees and my lower back were feeling it. They're like, babe, you're gonna levy. So
This bitch is no good.
I'm still like confident in how I look. So yes, I do want to go to the gym to get healthier, but like I'm T as hell.
How about the Deborah?
Yeah.
You're T.com.
Yeah,
It's giving body and love with the face. I feel like at the end of the day, we all have like little things about ourselves that like we wish we could change or we're working on.
Who doesn't?
And I do feel like it plays a role in this situation. And it shows how we can all have our preferences for how we want to be seen and portrayed to the public. And honestly, I'm not sure if I'd want a statue of myself in Times Square showing just every part of me exactly as I am, no shade, like naked and raw. I don't know if I would want that.
That statue was just like, here's a Black woman and accept it. Like, just accept it.
Yeah.
That's
and
it.
society did the exact opposite, like they do every day.
The exact opposite.
I'm trying to see it from like both sides. On one hand, a statue that shows every part of the body is real and authentic. I'm all for showing people the truth and like being open. But on another hand, it's like I get wanting to control how people see you and wanting to look good in that image. So it caused me to feel torn in this situation. And
but
then
my question is, what would have been acceptable?
Right.
It's men that also make women feel like they have to box themselves in these roles and then get at each other for it. Had the hair been done and she had some baby hairs and shit like that, and she been curvy and all of that shit and was wearing a dress or something, nobody would have cared.
I think there's a big group of people who aren't represented. Even if she was presented like that, it would be socially acceptable. People would say exactly what we're saying. I can see this on Instagram every day. No shade, but this is creating the stigma of what Black women are supposed to look like and what is the socially acceptable Black woman. And I don't feel like that's okay either. And also too, like, people got to understand, like, it's difficult to get very, very intricate detail. Like, I don't know what y'all expected this man to do or create. It's not like everybody was sitting waiting and anticipating on this. This just happened. And so I feel like it was a random act of appreciation. Let's appreciate it. You know, let's not take it down. There's no need for that.
Do you think it shows the struggle?
Like I said, I feel like society, even our own, equates Black women to struggle. So when you see that statue, you think of struggle.
It's literally so sad. It's really sad.
Stay tuned. The Freedom Savage podcast will be right back.
And when they ask who that, he that real big boy with the dress, and he does it. The music on some real shit. My love for the mic is complex because it's very truly connects so many songs and even.
Did somebody call for the Don Dada? For all my New Yorkers out there that need their hair did, my girl Lily does weaves, braids, locks, ponytails, and natural hairstyles. You don't even need to leave the comforts of wherever you at. She'll come straight to you. DM Lily on Instagram at dream.styles1 to discuss pricing and all other inquiries. Quaygold's Beauty is a luxury business that sells essential beauty products such as lashes, lip glosses, matte lip gloss, lip scrubs, body scrubs, candles, and jewelry. Don't even let me hold you back. Go ahead and DM at QuayGoldsBeauty _ to get your hand on the products that you need. Turn on your mics. We're back with the Freedom Savage podcast. The following information you are about to hear will describe gruesome acts of violence. Viewer discretion is advised.
26-year-old Afeni Muhammad in court Friday afternoon, charged with first-degree murder. East Point police say Muhammad fatally stabbed her manager, 39-year-old Jennifer Harris, inside the McDonald's where they both worked on 9 Mile Thursday morning.
Prior to the stabbing, Muhammad was sent home by Harris for not performing her work duties and told Harris, "I'll be back."
2 days before the Muhammad posted a video on her Instagram, which is public. This is a small portion of that video.
But to get sent home 2 days in a row, man, and I came in on my off day to make up my time, and she still sends me home early, it's not funny. Somebody will have to do something about that.
Due to the suspect having a record in Virginia for a similar crime involving another knife, the judge set her bond at $25 million cash or surety.
Investigators say the suspect stabbed Harris several times inside the drive-through portion of the fast food restaurant. A customer, a CPL holder, was in his car and witnessed the crime. Authorities say he shot his gun in the air, attempting to stop the violence. When the suspect ran out of the restaurant, the CPL holder held her at gunpoint until police arrived.
The first case that we are going to look at involves a situation that actually happened recently that has practically taken social media by storm this week. We are going to be breaking down the unaliving of Jennifer Harris, the McDonald's supervisor who was unalived by her employee.
Jennifer Harris, a 39-year-old McDonald's manager and mother of 6, was fatally by 26-year-old employee Afeni Badu Muhammad at the East Point, Michigan McDonald's on July 10th. Reports confirm that Harris and Muhammad argued during their shift that day, leading Harris to send Muhammad home early. Instead of letting it go, Muhammad went home, grabbed a kitchen knife, put on a mask, and returned to the McDonald's through the employee entrance, where she stabbed Harris multiple times with reports indicating up to 15 wounds. Damn.
During the attack, a drive-thru customer with a concealed firearm fired a warning shot and detained Muhammad until police arrived, preventing further violence. Muhammad later admitted to detectives that she intended to kill Harris, explaining she left work, went to a park to think, and then returned to carry out this. Authorities also confirmed Muhammad has a prior knife-related incident on her record, adding to concerns about her history with violence.
Videos have surfaced of Muhammad reportedly in her McDonald's uniform venting about Harris on social media. While not every report confirms explicit threats while waving a knife, these videos are being cited as evidence of premeditation and intent. Muhammad is now facing charges of first-degree premeditated murder, carrying a dangerous weapon with unlawful intent, and being a habitual offender, second offense. She is being held on a $25 million bond with strict conditions, including GPS monitoring, restricted travel, no contact with Harris's family, and a ban from returning to the McDonald's.
Harris's death has left her 6 children and the East Point community grieving. The franchise owner has covered her funeral expenses and created a fund to support her children. A memorial and balloon release were held outside the McDonald's on July 14th, where Harris was remembered as a caring mother who treated employees like family. A probable cause conference for Muhammad is scheduled for July 23rd, with a preliminary hearing on July 30th.
This case has sparked online discussions around victim blaming and whether claims of workplace mistreatment should be part of the conversation.
So obviously, you guys, there are several things to break down here. This was a very gruesome attack, unaliving, and it's just the way things escalated. Like, the first thing that kind of came into my mind was, babe, you're not the only person in this world to have a shitty manager. I would have rather her like fight her, curse her out, something than like. It did give something was mentally off, which everybody was saying about her. That something
That's
was.
why I feel like she took it that far.
They said that she had a prior knife-related incident on her record. Doesn't McDonald's conduct background checks on its employees?
I don't know, but
I feel like they should.
But Deborah, you worked in fast food.
I did. They didn't do a background check on me. So it really just depends on your area. Like, a lot of fast food places, like, they do hire felons and people with records and stuff like that.
When I worked for Juniors, I don't think I had background check. I was literally hired on the spot.
I guess it's the whole thing of like, you're just serving food. Like, what can you?
Yeah. I feel like that's kind of discrimination if you feel like a past offense is supposed to define them in that moment. Sometimes it could, but
like, I kind of feel like that's kind of weird, because what if you went to jail for like mixing chemicals and like poisoning people and then they got you cooking food?
When you work for like a corporate job, you have to give them all of your information. So some places, like, they probably like look you up to see. I just feel like if you done some weird stuff, I feel like it's going to come out. Like, you're not going to be a regular kind of person.
It will come out. I know a job I worked at, it was obviously a creeper. He gave very much predator. And sometimes they don't do background checks, but if you're always going to be yourself, they're going to know who you are.
Yeah. Exactly.
Should allegations of workplace mistreatment be considered when discussing a case involving a workplace homicide? But there were people online that were kind of trying to justify the suspect's behavior for saying like, well, the manager kind of like put herself in this predicament because she had this reputation of allegedly being so mean. Regardless, does it mean that you take it that far? So morality kind of became like this really big question during the case. Should workplace mistreatment be a factor here?
It should be a factor. It should be a factor because more than 3 people have came out to talk about the mistreatment that they have had from that manager. I feel like when it's that bad, it should definitely be a factor. I don't feel like me personally, that I've seen anyone justify, I don't be on TikTok, maybe on TikTok, but the Facebook posts I see, I don't see anyone really justify it. I feel people are more so empathetic because like you said in the beginning, we've basically damn near everybody done had a asshole ass supervisor or manager or something. We all not gonna go and unaliving people just because of that. But there's a lot of people who empathize and then throw on top of the fact that she clearly has some mental issues going on.
Could Afeni pursue a not guilty plea by reason of mental disease or defect?
Yeah, because I feel like that's the whole point. Like, for somebody with a mental disability, bullying them can have a greater effect on them than somebody who has stronger emotional capabilities to regulate their emotions. If she already was having issues with regulating her emotions and she has a past history of inciting violence because she can't regulate her emotions, then that does play a factor. Homegirl's still gonna go to jail. You still have to go to jail. I'm sorry.
But I definitely see a plea of insanity there.
Definitely. Or I feel like a reduced sentence or her being in a special program.
Yeah.
There are certain programs that she can be a part of, so she's not somewhere that is just going to put her in a worse situation because emotionally she might not be able to handle. I don't know. I mean, I don't know how long she was in jail for before or whatever, but that just might not be the best for her. So they're most likely gonna, give her a better deal.
Okay, so based on the facts of the case, do we find Afeni guilty?
Yes. Girl, you went home. I understand.
The fact that she went home and came back. I think that is gonna hurt her the most.
And she admitted to premeditating it. You went to the park to think.
Yeah, she told the cops, like, you went to the park to think. She wanted to do it.
About it.
Yeah.
You screwed yourself.
By saying that.
Yeah, it was a conscious decision. Yeah.
Right, exactly. So,
however, the past incidents though.
Right.
It could speak to a behavioral pattern, but the decisions were conscious.
Yeah, that is for sure. Because when you look at her social media, it definitely gives something off. She's also in some weird home situation. This older man that she's living with, he was like, knocking on the door or coming into her room, and she was like screaming, like, no, I don't want to have sex with you. I don't want to have sex. So that was weird. And that was before all of this. But clearly something's off. I don't know what it is exactly. I don't know if she was ever diagnosed with anything.
In a TikTok video she made, she was saying something about like this boss like already had this ongoing thing of just like mistreating her.
I mean, it was bullying, but she took it to the point where
Allegedly.
The manager was taking her hours away. And I was like kind of sketchy on that. I'm like, how bad could that manager really could have been? If previous employees who didn't even work alongside her, they probably worked before her, and they corroborated the same thing, that she used to cut your hours. Like, even if you work the whole day, you're not getting paid right, and then her living situation is fucked up. What if she's trying to save money to move? Like, that played a part in it too.
It's not right for people to do that because, mind you, I mean, I witness that at my job all the time because the way like it's structured at my job, but people just quit.
Yeah, you just leave.
Just leave. Like, you might take the paramedic or something if you was really mad.
Get locked up for assault, not
yeah, I would rather beat your ass and go to jail and come out the next day.
Yeah, like,
and to just do all of that.
Crazy.
You fucking with my hours and my money, I'm gonna have to beat your ass. But I'm not gonna,
Imagine hurt you. My condolences to that manager's family. I know what it's like to grieve somebody, no matter who that person was. It just was an awful situation. This next case is regarding the unaliving of Tina Snow. This is a fictional character, a victim on Law & Order SVU, Season 9, Episode 6. This is actually a pretty good episode of SVU, but this episode was just layered. Tina Snow was this college student who was unalived. She was found under an elevator shaft. The episode opened with some chick dropping her phone or something. It had like slipped under the elevator. The elevator, I guess, was like having like malfunctions and shit, and it didn't actually land on the floor. So there was a gap. When she went in to see like where her phone fell, she saw the body. The girl was not sexually assaulted, but she was. SVU, they solved sex crimes. The only reason why they were really called in was because the girl's breast was cut off as well, indicating a sexual component. The detectives, they ended up finding out this student, she was last seen drinking at a bar. The bartender's name was Cecilia, and they going up to her and they basically telling her, like, this girl was unalive. Anything you could help to give us, let us know. She like, okay, because she did tell him she had saw this creepy man looking at her or whatever. They end up finding out later on in the episode that the killer was her, the bartender chick. After they had spoke to her, she called Olivia saying like she saw the man, whatever. She screams and then the phone hangs up. When they go to the bar, it had been ransacked a little, like there was like a struggle of some sort. In the middle of the floor was this painting of a statue made out of the girl's blood. The girl kidnapped herself. So she became obsessed with this notorious serial killer. He was already in prison for unaliving tons of women. He was turning his crimes into paintings. This man had a fan club. I think it was like his ex-wife who was running the whole fan club. It was just a fan club of like motherfuckers that was like bypassing the fact that he was a serial killer, upholding him as this like monumental artist and this like god. One of them had it out for Olivia, like one of the dudes that was like a part of this fan club was collecting mad at the comics. Quick correction. This guy's name was Harrison Thomas, and he didn't have too much to do with the fan club, but he created the comic book series based off of the serial killer's unalivings. There was actually several more issues created after he had went to jail. So the college student's unaliving was one of several unalivings that was planned to be carried out to continue matching real life crimes to the comic book series. He tried to like attack Olivia at one point during the episode. It was a whole thing, broken in her house. She beat the shit out of him. He had sent a pizza to the precinct for her, but she didn't want pizza. She was going somewhere. She was like, I don't want it. She gave it to the other detective. He threw it on the table and the whole precinct damn near blew the shit. But this girl, she became infatuated with the serial killer, like fell in love with him, the whole gag. We end up finding out that she basically did the for him. Like he ordered her to do it on some like really show me you got what it take type shit to really express the art in the way I need you to express it, whatever. The girl looked like her. She saw herself in her. It was a little bit of like a self-hatred thing, which kind of drove her to actually do it. She led her to where like it happened and then just like did it to her. She kidnapped herself. She made it seem like it was a man that had like came and took her, whatever, because the detectives found her. This was on a mattress in a room full of rats just running all over the place. Hands tied, everything. Her breast wasn't cut off, but it was like half. Olivia had told her, I'm sorry, but you're gonna have to get like plastic surgery because like it was like deep cuts type shit. The doctors ended up telling Olivia and them like these were self-inflicted. Basically, she unalives a student for this man that she loves. And then when she notices that the cops was like a little onto her, she kidnaps herself.
Tries to cut her own titties off.
Tried to cut her own titties off.
Mutilated herself.
Basically mutilated herself. And then put herself, this is where the delusion really is for me. Put herself in an abandoned warehouse filled with rats. You laid on that mattress.
And she's just like sitting there waiting for them to find her.
Yes.
Like, how long were you waiting?
Her lawyer, was one of those lawyers that was trying to make the case like a spectacle. That's why the name of the episode was titled Svengali, because the girl was basically playing the Svengali defense. Because you saw this man as like this god, he put you in this mind state to where like you had to do it. That was the argument that they were trying to make. I think it failed, right? And the dude, because he basically tried to play Casey, our girl Casey, the DA. He tried to play her by saying, if I testify against her for y'all, you have to send me to like the prison I want to go to. But once they ended up finding out later on in the episode that he was the one that actually told her to do it from the jump, this mother was nasty because he told them exactly where she had buried the girl. Took him to go get them. And that mother had the nerve to be like, can I please have one little, that's not funny. Can I please have one little peek? Olivia was gonna
No. Where they put that in the writing? There's no.
He sent his ass to solitary confinement for the rest of his life. And the fan club was still outside of the courtroom cheering and shit, chanting, talking about let him go types of crap. Like these motherfuckers was
let him go. Do y'all want y'all titties? Like, girl,
don't take that shot.
Electric chair for you and your lawyer, and for anybody standing outside that courthouse. I'm sorry, y'all need to go under the jail.
No, she needs to go under the jail. It was the
Like, lose her paperwork and everything. I don't care. This
I do
girl.
feel like the guy brainwashed her because she was young, but it's like, babes, again, the delusion kicked in for me when you laid in a room full of rats. That's when the delusion really kicked for me. Like,
The delusion wasn't when she cut off her fucking titty.
I love there. The rats is the delusion for you.
That was the last step she had to do. After she did all of this, she just had to sit there and wait.
How did you even do all of that? Like, how the did you make the painting? Because she also was making her kidnapping look like one of the comics.
Girl,
because the girl in the comic story also gets kidnapped and brought to like this abandoned building and shit and like or whatever. So she was making her kidnapping look like the recent comic that had came out. This bitch was sick.
Absolutely not. Not gonna lie, bitch, you better make me watch SVU while I'm at motherfucking work because the way these kids, I'm like, wait, homegirl did what now?
This is the story of Jason Corbett and the night everything unraveled. After losing his first wife to a medical emergency in 2006, Jason Corbett was left raising 2 young children alone in Ireland. He hired Molly Martins, an American nanny, to help. Over time, their relationship turned romantic. In 2011, they married and moved to North Carolina. But what began as a fresh start ended in tragedy. Molly wanted legal guardianship of Jason's children, but he refused. Loved ones say her behavior became increasingly erratic, including making claims about Jason that couldn't be verified. Tension built inside the home. Jason had reportedly started to consider ending the marriage. In the early hours of August 2nd, a 911 call was made by Molly's father, Tom Martins. Jason had been fatally injured in the bedroom. Tom claimed Jason was attacking Molly, and that he acted to protect her using a baseball bat. But the autopsy raised serious doubts. Jason had over a dozen head injuries, many while he was already down. There were no marks on Molly suggesting a struggle, and no defensive injuries on Tom. Investigators believed the scene was staged. In 2017, both Molly and Tom Martins were convicted of second-degree murder and sentenced to 20 to 25 years. But in 2020, the convictions were overturned. A higher court ruled that some evidence had been unfairly excluded. In 2023, they took a plea deal, voluntary manslaughter.
For our last case this segment, we will be discussing the unaliving of Jason Corbett.
So this is based off the Netflix documentary. It's called A Deadly American Marriage. I watched it like a couple months ago. I watched so many documentaries, so many, but I found this one very interesting. This definitely is a case that stands out to me as far as what the truth really was. Jason Corbett was a 39-year-old businessman. He was from Ireland. He was Irish. I'm going to basically do a timeline because it's so many details in this case, and I feel like you kind of got to go all the way back and then circle around to really make this make sense. So in 2006, he was married to Margaret Fitzpatrick Corbett. That's his first wife. They had 2 children, Sarah and Jack. His wife in 2006 from an asthma attack. But it was reported that she had urinated on herself. She didn't have no case open. There was no suspicion or no charges or anything like that. But it was said that urinating on yourself is a sign of and not natural causes. So keep that in mind. That's his first wife, Margaret. Fast forward 2008, Jason is a single dad now. He has 2 kids, Jack and Sarah. Now a 23-year-old American comes to Ireland. Her name is Molly Martins. She becomes an au pair. I don't know if I'm saying it right. For Jason's kids. So an au pair is basically someone who help out with childcare, help out with housework, stuff like that, because he was a single dad. So that she became that for him. Eventually, they get into a romantic relationship. They fall in love. They get married and everything, and they move to America, North Carolina, closer to Molly's family. That's 2011. Jason maintains full custody of his kids. So even though they were married, Molly has yet to legally adopt them. Now, at the time, the kids were really, really young when they met Molly. They were so young when they met her to the point when they started to grow up, they called her mom. Now, they knew that wasn't their biological mother, but this is just the only mom that they knew. Between 2011 2015, it was said that tensions would grow between Jason and Molly. Jason allegedly refused to let Molly adopt the children. She would always kind of enforce that she wants to adopt them, but he never really took it seriously. During this time, she would confide in therapists and even a divorce lawyer, basically feeling like Jason was abusive, not physically, but verbally, emotionally. Eventually, Molly tells the others she feels controlled and abused and afraid, manipulative, and all of those things. But I remember when I was watching the documentary, during their wedding, Jason's sister was speaking to one of Molly's friends. They was just like in conversation, it's a reception and everything. And Molly's friend was like telling Jason's sister, like, oh, Margaret, they call her Mag. So she's like, that Molly's so nice. She took over for Mag's kids and everything. Molly lied to her friends and said the kids were her god kids and like she was best friends with Mag, his previous wife. Some weird story. It has no real significance to the case, but it was just like, I guess they mentioned that as far as maybe her mental or something. But she like basically lied to people she knew that she took over one of her best friend's kids and stuff like that and whatever. That was weird. Something that Jason's family found weird of her.
Did she know the first wife? I thought the first wife was in Ireland.
Yeah, she didn't know the first wife, but she was telling people that she knew that she did. Between 2011 and 2015, she was talking amongst friends sometimes, like confiding in her best friend or confiding even in a lawyer and stuff like that about Jason being abusive. The lawyer told her, like, I can't do much because she was scared of divorcing him and losing the kids because, like I said, she didn't legally adopt them yet. It was just a by marriage thing. So if they do divorce, they're not her kids. They obviously have to go with their father. She didn't want that. She started to build this weird little connection with the kids. Like she didn't want the kids to have like a picture of their biological mom next to their beds anymore. Whenever Sarah would be like, oh, I want to go with my daddy, she would be on this weird thing like, oh, so you don't love me? You don't love mommy?
She was becoming really possessive of the kids.
Yes, really possessive over the kids. The lawyer told her, so if you're, if he's abusive, like you're saying, if all of these things is happening and you're scared about, custody battle as far as a divorce and you're scared for the kids' sake, just record everything. Try to get some evidence and stuff like that. So what Molly did was, I guess she bought these like recording devices that are like sound activated. She would put them all over the house. She even put them in the car. And whenever it hears a sound, it picks up on sound, it starts recording. And that's what she started doing. So one day they actually did get into an argument because the son, Jack, one day he found one in the car and he gave it to his dad. He didn't know what it was. His dad obviously knew what it was. So they got into an argument about that. Also, a recording on the documentary itself that they played about them arguing in the morning. And I'm not gonna lie, in the recording, it did sound like Jason was the problem. Now, I don't know what was happening before the recording started. I don't know if she antagonized anything and just brought it to an area where she knew what a recorder was. I don't know. But in that recording that they played on the documentary, it sounded like he was the problem. It sounded like
he was the aggressor.
Yeah, it sounded like he was an aggressor. They were yelling at each other. It was loud. Jack, he was a little kid, had told his father, oh, stop yelling. You're scaring Sarah. You're scaring Sarah. Keep that in mind. Now, on the other hand, it also came out they looked through all of his emails and his phones and everything. He was actually planning to leave her. He was kind of pleading with her at one point, like, I'm doing everything you want. What do you want from me? Every time I do something for you, you're still upset. Like, I don't know what you want from me anymore. He would be talking amongst his friends, like in the email saying, like, I don't know what she wants anymore. I can't make her happy. I'm ready to come back to Ireland. I'm ready to come back. I'm ready to go back home. So it's like, really, is it him or is it her? Like, I don't know. Fast forward to August 2nd, 2015, Jason Corbett is beaten to death in his bedroom. And he was beaten by Molly Martin and her father, Tom Martin, who was a retired FBI agent. So in their North Carolina home that they lived in, Molly's parents lived in a basement. I guess they were older and, they helped with the kids and stuff like that. So according to the documentary, one night, Molly and Jason were arguing. Tom, Molly's father, his statement was like he heard a lot of commotion, so he grabbed his bat and he went upstairs. Molly had the same story that they were arguing and Jason was strangling her. That's when her father busted in the door with the bat. He was beaten very badly to the point where they don't really have an exact number of how many times he may have been struck because it was just so much. It was just too much
damage. Yeah.
The father had a metal bat. Molly, she actually picked up a brick or a cement block or something that was by the fireplace in their bedroom and hit him with that too. Yeah.
Damn.
So Tom, her father, he had the metal baseball bat and she had this cement block.
All of that self-defense? Boo. Mm-hmm. Or was y'all trying to take him out?
When the cops came and everything like that, the father was saying, a self-defense thing because the father had claimed that when he went into the room, he saw Jason strangling her, and so he hit him. But it's like what you guys are saying is not adding up to what this man looks like right now.
Body is telling an entirely different story.
Entirely different. Like he even had blows like to the back of his head, to like his shoulder. It's two of y'all. If it was so called a thing where you wanted him to get off of her, wouldn't that be like maybe 1 or 2 hits, 3 max? Like all of those hits do not make sense, and it doesn't make sense for both of y'all to have been doing that either. And even the crime scene, it said the crime scene is described as one of the investigators had ever seen.
Wow.
August 3rd, 2015, police arrest Molly and Tom Martins. They maintained their self-defense, and Molly feared she'd be like Jason's first wife. It's the trial. The trial is set for 2017. Now, so when the arrest happened and everything like that, and they brought the kids in, when they were speaking to the kids, they spoke to the kids separately. The kids both had the same exact story. You can tell when somebody's coached to say something. And when I watched on the documentary of like how the kids were answering, not so much Sarah, because Sarah is the youngest, but more so Jack. I think he was about 8 or 10 at the time. The vocabulary, I don't want to say, because some kids are very, very smart. Their vocabulary is very, very broad, but
they were talking too sophisticated.
Yeah, it was just too, like, it wasn't making sense. The lady asked, like, have you ever seen your dad hit your mom? Or have you ever seen your dad and your mom argue? And then Jack was just like, yeah, he verbally abused my mom. He physically abused my mom. Instead of just saying, oh, they argued or they were fighting.
Or they were yelling at mom. He was yelling at mom or something like that. Like, they wouldn't use police-related words.
Kids don't use that type of language to describe something like that. A kid would just say they were fighting, they were yelling, they were arguing, something like that. So yeah, that's how the interviews went with the little kids. It just seemed so coached. So now they're arrested. They got arrested. The police did not believe them. When they was in the police station, everything like that, giving their statements, they did get pictures taken. So Molly got pictures taken of her neck and stuff like that because she claimed she was being. Now, when you first look at the pictures, it doesn't look like there's any marks on her. Like when you first glance, like when you just look at it, it just doesn't seem like something, it doesn't seem like a neck that was just, it wasn't nothing like so obvious. They also took a picture of her pants. She had on pajama pants, but just like her pants off, like laid out on some table or something, and her pants had urine in it, like she peed herself. Now,
like the wife,
like his previous wife. Now, the previous wife, they said that she from an asthma attack. However, her conditions that she was in when she could have also been equal to a, but they just don't know because it was never a case. But his previous wife did pee herself when she died, and then Molly had peed herself just like his last wife did. So Molly and Tom, they're convicted of second-degree murder, and they're sentenced to 20 to 25 years in prison. The defense team, like their lawyers, they could not present any of those recordings, like anything of abuse. They couldn't present that to the jury. They were prohibited from putting any allegations or any of the recordings. Like they could not submit that to the court. They also could not submit the testimonies of the kids, which I understood because when you look at those testimonies from the kids, I feel like they were definitely coached. So they wind up just losing that in the first trial. So they were convicted second degree. They got 20 to 25 years. Fast forward to 2019, they got an appeal. So the attorneys for Molly and Tom were saying they were unfairly excluded evidence of Jason's alleged abuse. They were saying they didn't get a fair trial. Basically told past attorneys that they cannot submit any abuse allegations, any recordings. They talked about the kids' testimonies too, which I feel like that's probably the only thing that I agree on that shouldn't have been included in the case at all. However, when the kids made those testimonies or whatever, when they were interviewed right after the incident, the kids were in the custody of their aunt, Jason's sister. I don't know if it was months or maybe a year later, the kids were just like, no, my dad never yelled at my mom. My dad never hit my mom. And I feel like, which is also coached, obviously, by the aunt, Jason's sister, because in the recording, your dad they were arguing. There was such a petty argument that you can tell that's not the only argument they had. So even though that first interview that the kids had may have been coached, them saying that their parents never argue is also a lie. That's also a coach from Jason's family. And then they also talked about juror misconduct. So apparently, which I don't even think was mentioned in the documentary, I had to look this up myself, a juror independently researched during the trial, which you're not not supposed to do. You're not supposed to look into the case on your own. All of those like bullet points is basically what Molly's attorney appealed for. So now 2021, their conviction is overturned. North Carolina Court of Appeals vacate the convictions, and their reasoning was the improper exclusion of defense evidence, including Jason's previous wife's and the juror misconduct. They still didn't include like the kids' testimonies because they felt like either way those kids' testimonies were coached. 2023 was a plea deal. Molly and Tom accept a plea deal for voluntary manslaughter. They plead no contest. Molly plead no contest, and Tom pled guilty. Tom was sentenced to 51 to 82 months in prison, but they were given time served, both of them. By June 2024 is when they're both released. So now to this day, Molly is still trying to like reach out to like the kids. Jason's children remain in Ireland. They did go back to Ireland with their aunt. Now I feel like the kids, being that they live with their aunt, they live with their dad's side of the family. Obviously, they don't want anything to do with Molly. They look at Molly as I'm not saying he's a devil or anything like that. You honestly don't know what happened. There's no real answers to this because the only person who can say what happened is Molly and Jason. And even then, Molly probably put in some lies in here and there.
Was he hit while he was in bed, or was he standing up when they attacked him?
He was standing up. He was hit from the front with the baseball bat from Tom, and he was hit from the back by Molly with that brick cement rock thing.
What do you feel like happened?
I honestly don't know, because when you hear the tapes of the recordings of their arguments, then also including his previous wife, I don't feel like it's a coincidence that she peed on herself and then Molly peed on herself as well.
But there was no physical evidence.
That's what I was about to say. When her defense attorney appealed for the conviction, he mentioned the urine in her underwear, and then he also mentioned the way that Jason her wouldn't have left anything on her neck. It would have only left like an imprint, like right here, like behind the ear. And the defense attorney was kind of just guessing, like, if I'm right in the fact that she peed on herself, and when you look at the pictures that they took of her that night at the police station, she had a mark right here, like an indent, like a fingernail indent. If you look at that picture, you would probably think, oh, it was just something on her neck, or maybe a piece of lint. It's not something that you would look into. But when the defense attorney said that before even looking at the photos, and when he got the photos, he was right. She did urinate on herself, and she did have the fingernail indent by her ear.
It's kind of hard to know what happened.
And then also like the question of what really happened to his first wife. So the asthma attack that she had that led to her, and that type of asthma attack is not common to urinate on yourself. When you're watching the documentary, you're going to be on Jason's side all the way. Like, no, Molly is crazy. This bitch is crazy. Why would her and her dad do that? And then you hear that recording. And then it's also testimonies of others as far as the people she confided in during that time. It's not like it's something where she's arrested already and now she's saying all of this to the people that she know. No, it was like during that time where people can say, no, she used to come to me about this. She used to come to me about that. And I told her this.
But it's like, could she have been calculated enough to do that? Both possibilities are still at play. But it's like, did you know that you were just going to like up and unalive him that night?
I don't think so. Honestly, I'm more leaning onto the side of he was her. The mark on her neck, the fact that she peed on herself, I think he did.
I'm completely torn. Could they have taken it a little too far with the
Yes,
brick?
they did. They didn't have to beat him that bad. Like, why?
You know, crash out, somebody's hitting your child, right? Like your child's partner is hitting them. You know, rage and shit, what a father would do if they see like a man hitting his daughter or whatever. But then again, she was the one with the brick. So it's a little, it's really, really tough. What do we give it?
I think the thing that throws me off the most is the fact that his first wife peed on herself before she.
How was that like made a thing to know? Like, why was that like a known thing already prior to like his?
I guess it was just in her report. In the report, yeah, like when you just they gotta write down everything when it's things like that, because they did not exhume her body, but it was on some type of report. I don't know what kind of report. I don't know the type of reports that they have to do when it comes to like the coroners and stuff like that. Maybe it's that.
What does this case say about how tricky it is to handle family violence cases when there are children involved and the stories from those closest to the situation are so different?
I don't know. I feel like, I don't know. I mean, it always comes down to what he say, she say. You have that, but then you also have his family over here. Like, that can't be true. He's the nicest guy, like, ever. And everybody has these whole testimonies about how much he's a saint. So I don't know who to believe. I don't know what to believe. I feel the most bad for the kids. I feel like as far as mentally living on, they were obviously affected the most because they don't know what to believe either. As far as the documentary, like till this day, as they're older, they're on their dad's side. That's given. They live with their aunt. They live with their dad's family. Of course, over the years,
Yeah.
that's what, they're going to
have influence on them.
Yeah. The son, Jack, felt guilty at first because of his first testimony of saying that his father
But
did
he was
like
he
that.
was a
But
little kid.
yeah, you were a kid. Like you just were doing what you thought was right, or you were doing what you were told to do. Oh, what I didn't mention though was like her parents did live in a basement. So when the police asked her mom, when you heard the commotion upstairs, what did you do? And she said nothing. That kind of was like, but then again, there's like, she was with the grandkids. She was with the kids. So it was like, what do you want me to do? Police were kind of make it seem like, why wouldn't you get up and go see what was going on? And she's like, because I was with my grandkids and whatever was going on. Obviously, I didn't think it was that, but I'm going to make sure the grandkids is okay, whatever. So it's just, you don't know. I don't know. This is the first time I felt like where I'm really like, what? I don't know.
I don't know. Mistrial. I don't even know. I wouldn't even want that case hit in my courtroom. The only people that really know what happened in that room was him, who is unalive, y'all, and God. Like nobody else really knows
Nobody
the
knows
real truth. And
No.
y'all not going to put yourselves in jail. So at that point, it's like how reliable is y'all story? You know?
The cops kind of also had this premeditated thing to where they wasn't going to believe anything that Tom said because he was a retired FBI agent. So obviously he know how to talk.
Which I also feel like plays a role here. Like,
so he would know what to do and how to do it, how to make it not look like this or whatever the case. So that's what the cops thought too. Like they were talking to him, but they were taking everything he said with a grain of salt.
He's an FBI agent. So they actually have like more interrogation skills. Interrogation training, tactics, all of that. Yeah, this shit is layered. I don't know, girl. I don't know. This episode did go by pretty smoothly. As you already know, stay tuned for everything that I have in store. And we will catch y'all on the next one. I love y'all.
There's a difference between hearing and listening. You get it. A passion, a spirit, a devotion. We're making magic.